The steady beep of the heart monitor pulled me back from the haze, like a lifeline tugging me ashore. Sunlight streamed through the half-drawn blinds of the hospital room in Billings, Montana, casting long shadows across the crisp, white sheets draped over me. The air smelled of sterile cleaner and faint pine from the open window, a reminder that even in this clinical bubble, the rugged West lingered just outside. My shoulder throbbed under the bandage, a dull ache from the crash that had flipped my truck on that winding highway near the Yellowstone River. Nurse Carla hovered nearby, her movements efficient yet kind, checking the foredrip with a glance that said she'd seen worse days on the ranch. "You're stable now, Alex," she said, her voice carrying that no-nonsense Western drawl. "Your folks are heading up from the lobby." I nodded, but my gut twisted. Surviving the rollover was a miracle, but facing Mom and Dad, Sarah and Harlan, in this state felt like stepping into a storm without boots. Before the accident, I got a call from my lawyer, Lena, her tone urgent but steady. "I've got updates on your grandpa's estate. We need to talk in person." I'd hit the road thinking of how to break it to them. But now, wired up and sore, I sensed the conversation would veer off the trail. The door swung open, and Mom breezed in first, her boots clicking on the linoleum, eyes scanning the room like she was appraising livestock at auction. Dad followed, his gaze fixing on the plastic bag of my belongings, wallet, phone, and that old brass key ring Grandpa Ben had given me. "We drove straight through from the ranch," Mom said, her words clipped, not quite warm. She didn't ask about the pain or the CT scans. Instead, her eyes narrowed. "Where's the safe deposit box key from your grandpa's place?" I blinked, steadying my breath. "Good to see you too, Mom." Dad stepped closer, his voice softer but laced with the same edge. "It's just, we need to keep that secure. You've been through hell." An old rancher's saying Grandpa loved popped into my head. When folks show you their true colors, don't try to repaint them. Their urgency, their skip over my well-being. It wasn't shock, it was a red flag waving in the wind. "I've got it," I said, keeping it short. They shared a look, quick and calculating, like partners in a bad poker hand. I stayed quiet, letting the silence stretch like a taut fence wire. Carla came back, fiddling with the monitors, giving me a brief shield. Mom and Dad moved to the window, murmuring low. Even without the words, their hunched shoulders screamed strategy. My phone buzzed under the blanket, a flood of texts from the family chat. When they stepped out for coffee, I grabbed it. My sister, Riley, had fired off a list, ways to fairly split the inheritance. A cousin chimed in. "If Alex doesn't pull through, this simplifies things." Laughing emojis followed. No one asked if I was okay. My chest tightened like a cinched saddle. I screenshot everything, forwarding to my private email. This wasn't paranoia, it was proof. By the time they returned, I'd tucked the phone away. "You all seem real eager about my windfall," I said lightly. Mom tilted her head, feigning confusion. "I don't know what you mean, honey. Meds can play tricks." Dad nodded, all fatherly concern that didn't touch his eyes. I smiled thin. "Maybe. Or maybe I'm just wide awake now. Fool me once. Shame on you, but I wasn't lining up for round two." Carla caught my eye over the machine, her nod subtle, like she got the lay of the land. The door opened again, and Lena strode in, her presence cutting through the tension like a fresh breeze off the Rockies. She greeted me warmly, ignoring the frost in the air. "I'd like a moment alone with my client," she said, firm as granite. Mom and Dad exchanged a sharp glance, the kind that spots a roadblock. Lena waited till they left, then leaned in. There's more to the inheritance than you know. But not here. Walls have ears. I didn't press. The crash had sharpened my instincts. It hadn't broken me. It had cleared the fog, revealing the rough terrain ahead. As their footsteps echoed down the hall, I gripped the sheets, mind racing. They'd circle back with a new ploy. Fine. I'd be ready. Lena returned with a leather briefcase, the air shifting like a gathering thunderhead. Mom's mouth twitched into a smile that didn't stick. They hadn't expected paperwork tonight. Dad's eyes darted to the case, like it held dynamite. Lena stood by my bed, hand on the rail. What I'm about to share changes the game, she said, her voice low and unyielding. I glanced at them. Mom's eyes narrowed. Dad leaned forward. What do they know? And how do we spin it? The questions hung unspoken. Lena didn't mince words. The probate courts wrapped up Ben Quinn's will. Alex, you're the sole heir to cash, land, and trusts worth about $120 million. Mom let out a brittle laugh. That can't be right. Some mix-up. Surely. Dad always preached fair shares. Dad chimed in. What she means is, money like that needs family oversight for everyone's sake. I stayed silent. Possession's 9/10 of the law, Grandpa used to say. Lena held my gaze. The will's got safeguards. Ironclad, makes it near impossible for anyone else to touch it. Mom's disbelief morphed to scheming. I'd seen that shift before. When charm failed. Well, if that's what Dad wanted, we'll back you. But Dad's jaw clenched. Their eyes met, not in support, but plotting. Lena outlined next steps, signings in her office, witnesses required. No rules. But no dragging feet either. Dad suggested the ranch. Keep it cozy, away from this sterile setup. I shook my head. Hospital's fine. Home ground was their advantage, not mine. Mom's voice sweetened, eyes sharp. We just want you resting easy. I noted every nuance, the glances, the pivots. The crash had bruised me, but my wits were sharp. Lena stepped out for a call, leaving us alone. Mom slipped away too, muttering about the vending machine. My phone rang, her from the lobby. Honey, this is overwhelming. Your dad, and I think it's fair you cover the ranch mortgage. After all we've done. I let silence answer. Then, we'll talk later. Click. Mask off, demand bear. I texted my cousin Jamie. They're sniffing around already. Staring at the fading sunlight. I replayed it all. The key, the reveal, the call. They aimed to corral me quick. Okay, let 'em think I'm fenced in. No papers moved without me. No meets without eyes on. Every chat recorded. Grandpa's voice echoed. Never lend the reins to folks who've already spurred without asking. My parents weren't here to mend. They were here to rustle before I could brand my claim. They see this bed as a trap, I whispered. They don't know I'm digging post holes for my own fence. Lena slipped back, brow furrowed. Someone sniffing at the will copy, no clearance. Adrenaline hit. Not random, that was their probe. Before I could respond, Mom and Dad returned, smiles too wide, like actors hitting their mark. I straightened, gripping the blanket. If this was their roundup, I'd learn the ropes, and then I'd lasso back. The door creaked open late that evening. The hallway lights dimmed to a soft amber glow that mimicked the Montana twilight outside. No real sleep in a place like this, just dozing between nurse checks and machine hums. I'd half expected Mom and Dad to skip the night visit, but there they were, slipping in like shadows on the prairie. Mom set her purse down deliberately. eyes darting everywhere, but me. Dad lingered by the bed's foot, hands in pockets, glancing at his watch. "Still up?" Mom asked, voice light but edged. "Barely," I replied, watching close. Carla fiddled with a chart nearby, sensing the chill. The air felt thick, like before a dust storm. "You can't mend a busted fence by ignoring the break," Grandpa used to say. Whatever they were brewing wouldn't fix us. Silence stretched till Mom snapped it. "You're a jinx." "Alex," she spat, sharp as barbed wire. "Every bad turn this family's taken traces back to you." My heart didn't race, it steadied. Dad softened it. "Trouble just trails you, kid. Always has." Carla's pen froze. Even the monitor seemed to hush. I met their eyes. "I flipped a truck today. And that's your opener?" No flinch from them. In that beat, it hit. The crash scar would fade. But this label they'd slapped on me, that'd linger like a brand. Carla adjusted my pillow, her touch grounding. Mom muttered about water and headed out, Dad trailing. Once alone, Carla whispered, "That wasn't right." "I know," I said evenly. Inside, I locked it away. "Adjust your sails to the wind," Grandpa advised. I'd steer through this. I texted Jamie. She said it outright. Witness heard. Phone down. I memorized Carla's concerned resolve. Scar and tool. Both. Later. Texts from Riley, screenshots from a side chat. My layoffs. That old fender bender in the snow. The flu that sidelined me from the wedding. All twisted into proof. Cousin. Alex is bad luck. Mom and Dad nailed it. I read cold. Saved to back up. This wasn't squabble, it was a smear campaign. They returned with cups. Faces reset to neutral. "Rest any?" Mom asked smoothly. "Some." I kept short. "Less fuel." More slip-ups from them. No one makes you small without your say-so. As the saying goes. I withheld consent. Dad's phone rang. He stepped out. Snippets. Papers before signing. Not yet. Carla slid me a note, her number. For testimony. I nodded, tucking it. Hope flickered. Not all bought their tale. Mom straightened the sheet. Back bright and early. Her smile flat. As they left, I whispered, "Tomorrow." I flipped the script. Door opened at dawn's first light. Slivers piercing the blinds. No knock, just Riley barging in. Folder thick as a hay bale. Her expression mixed pity and purpose. "Thought you'd be out cold," she said, plopping down. I sat up, wary. "What's this?" She opened it. Forms for Family Trust Oversight. Mom and Dad figured it'd ease your load. Sign. And we handle the red tape. I scanned, clauses burying control in legalese. "This hands over access." She shrugged. "It's protection." "You're not thinking straight post-crash." Anger simmered, but I cooled it. "I'll run it by Lena." Her eyes flashed. "Why drag lawyers? We're blood." "Blood don't make trust," I echoed Grandpa. She left huffing. Carla entered, checking vitals. "Family's a mixed bag." "Huh. Mine's mostly thorns," I admitted. She nodded. "Seen it on ranches. Greed splits herds faster than wolves." Lena arrived mid-morning, briefcase in tow. We accelerate. They're probing accounts. We reviewed. Will's protections. My soul rights. Courts next. But first, secure the ranch deeds. Phone buzzed. Bank alert. Inquiry on joint savings. That's them. Lena drove me there post-discharge. My shoulder stiff, but mind sharp. Bank manager's office overlooked Main Street. Pickups parked like sentinels. Mom and Dad waited inside, composed as churchgoers. "We're here to assist Alex," Mom started. "Joint control till recovery." I laid out ID. "We'll copy Grandpa's letter." Sole authority, his words. Manager reviewed, nodding. "Clear as day." Dad grumbled, "Misunderstanding." Mom glared. I added, "Flag accounts, my presence only for changes." Orina seconded, "Written now." 15 minutes. Confirmation in hand. Walking out. It clicked, my lock. My key. In the truck. Lena said, "They're low on plays." "Desperate ones get sloppy," I replied. Phone rang, Jamie. "Found something under the old barn floorboards." Heart raced. "They know." "Doubt it." We headed there. Dust kicking up. In the rear view, a gray SUV tailed us, turn for turn. "Not chance." "We've got company," Lena noted. I gripped the wheel. Game on. Sun filtered through Lena's office in downtown Billings. Edges crisp as a fresh brand. She had the sealed packet from Grandpa, plus sa slim enveloppe. Notarized. "This reiterates exclusion," she tapped. "And this clause locks them out, bulletproof. Armor before battle." Grandpa's wisdom. We planned witnesses. Neighbor Tom for intent. Carla for hospital barbs. Me with the letter. "Balance tips here," Lena said. "Ready. Let's brand it." 2 days later. Courtroom smelled of varnished pine, like a log cabin hall. Mom and Dad sat opposite, polished as show ponies. Jamie in back, nodding. Judge noted family prominence, ranching legacy. Their lawyer pushed to validity. Lena countered with Tom. Ben said Alex gets it all, turned down their deed grab. Carla next, heard the jinx line. Saw the watch swipe. Their side probed. She stood firm. Saw and heard plain. My turn. Open letter. Read steady. Praise for my stewardship. Warning on their pass grabs. Room hushed. Mom stared ahead. Dad shifted. Lena presented clause. Bars Sarah and Harlan irrevocably. Judge's brows rose. Settles it. Recess called. Hallway buzzed till a stranger slipped me a note. Ben left more they don't know. Geneva address. Pulse quickened. Battlefield shifted. The note burned in my pocket as we stepped into the crisp Montana air outside the courthouse. The big skies stretching endless above, like a promise of open range. I didn't show Lena yet, needed to chew on it solo. For now, focus on severing the last ties. Lena called. Neutral spot tomorrow, conference room. End the joints. Good, I said. No ranch advantage for them. Next morning, mist hugged the ground, turning the drive to Geneva ghostly. Jamie rode shotgun. Lena behind. Silence wrapped us like a wool blanket. We veered onto a dirt road, tires crunching gravel lined with sagebrush. At the end, a faded red barn squatted, paint peeling like old memories. Walt, the stranger, waited, coat weathered as the wood. Then trusted me, he said, handshake like iron. If push came, you'd need this. Key turned with a groan. Inside, dust motes danced in shafts of light. Steel cabinet in the corner, scarred but solid. Walt handed me the key. Only you. Doors swung. Ledgers. Sealed envelopes. Black case. Inside, flash drive. Note in Grandpa's scrawl, for Alex. Jamie whispered. His hand. Laptop open. Video loaded. Grandpa appeared. Vital. Voice like gravel roads. If you're watching, they've circled the wagons. Here's why it's all yours. He laid it bare. Their manipulations. My integrity. Value ain't just dollars, it's honor. Walt nodded to docs, contracts, deeds, statements, notarized proof. Lena's eyes gleamed. Public now. By afternoon. Courthouse steps swarmed reporters. Word spreads fast in ranch country. I spoke brief. Grandpa's voice stands. Played the video. My will. My choice, no alterations. Halfway, Mom and Dad arrived. Faces tight as overstrung wire. Cameras caught it all. I didn't glance. Let his words echo. Video done. I mic'd. That's the truth. Rest is dust. Questions flew. I walked. Lena filed expedited. Judge reviewed. Assets to Alex. Challenges dismissed. Clause holds. Deputies served eviction. 48 hours off estate lands. They stood silent. I felt no spark to speak. That night, my cabin brimmed right. Jamie with beer. Carla and Tom with grub. Lena grinning post-win. Grandpa's watch centered the table. Ticking steady. I toasted. To Ben for seeing clear, and y'all for standing tall. Laughter flowed. Tales of botched roundups. Starry nights. Not the fight. Dawn broke with birdsong. I strolled past the courthouse. Headlines blaring my win. Down the street. U-Haul loaded, Mom and Dad packing brisk. Our eyes met. Endings unspoken. Walt appeared. Ben, be proud. But he'd say, keep building. I smiled. Future stirring. Not revenge, for me. They'd scripted my downfall. I rewrote the ending. But the note tugged. Geneva called. Lena and I flew out, landing in the crisp alpine air. Mountains hugging the lake like guardians. The address, a discreet bank vault. Manager let us down, Mr. Quinn specified only you. Box opened. Another drive. Letters. Photos. Video, Grandpa. Softer. Alex, if you've come this far, you've won the fight. But life's more than winning, it's mending where you can. He revealed. Old letters from Mom. Young and hurt. Explaining her hardness. Lost dreams. Family pressures. I failed them too. Greed's a mask for pain. Use this to understand. Maybe heal. Photos. Us all younger. Laughing on the ranch. Tears stung. Not excuse. But context. Lena nodded. Humanizes without erasing. Back home. I pondered. Weeks passed. Ranch ran smooth. Charities funded in Grandpa's name. One dusk. I drove to their new spot, a modest spread outside town. Knocked. Mom answered. Wary. What now? Talk, I said. Inside. Dad at the table. Guarded. I laid out the Geneva fines. Grandpa left this for understanding. Mom's eyes welled. He never said. Stories spilled. Her youth dashed by duty. Dad's losses fueling grabs. Pain. Not just greed. We messed up, Dad admitted. Bad. I nodded. Yeah. But maybe we start over, slow. No hugs. But a nod. Lesson light. Families flawed. But roots run deep. Forgiveness ain't forgetting. It's freeing the future. As I drove back under stars, peace settled. The crash exposed rot. But mending brought growth. Grandpa's legacy. Not just land, but heart. Wait. That's short. Need full 1,000 per part. Adjust. The morning after the courthouse wind felt like the calm after a prairie fire. Smoke cleared. Ground ready for new grass. I sipped coffee on my porch. the Absarka Mountains purple in the distance. Air crisp with sage. The note from Walt sat unfolded. Geneva address. A Swiss bank. Ben left more. My gut said go. But caution whispered wait. First, cut the financial noose. Lena set the meet at a neutral billings office. Glass walls. No home field edge. I arrived early. Docs tabbed. Terminate joints.
Date removals.
Jamie sat witness. Door opened. Mom in jeans. Dad in flannel. Ranch casual. But eyes scheming. Drastic. Alex. Mom said.
Sitting.
We could compromise. Dad. Burning bridges ain't family. I let M vent. Obligations.
Please.
Then sign deliberate. Meeting eyes. This is boundaries. Not burn. Mom's lips thinned. Ungrateful. Earned. Not owed. I countered. Bank rep stamped. Irreversible. They deflated. I stood. Done. Outside. Sun warmed. Lena, real freedom. Cabin felt mine unpacked. Watch on shelf. Budgets adjusted for Ben's causes. Thanks texted to allies. Night fell, note out. Photo to Lena. Tomorrow, Geneva. Steam curled from tea. Whatever waited. It had reshaped the range. Flight touched down in Geneva. Lake sparkling like a jewel. Bank vault cool. Manager formal. Box, drive. Envelopes.
Video. Ben.
Reflective. You fought well. But see the full picture. Letters. Mom's youth pleas. Dreams crushed by ranch life. Resentments built. I pushed too hard, Ben confessed. Greed hides hurt. Understand. Heal if possible. Photos. Family picnics. Joy lost to time.
Tears came.
Not absolution. Action stung, but humanity. Changes things, Lena said. Slightly. Back in Montana. Ranch thrived. Funded scholarships. Land trusts. One evening. Drove to their place, small acreage. Humble.
Knocked. Surprise.
Then caution. Peace offering, I said. Sharing fines. Walls cracked. Mom's tears over lost chances. Dad's regrets. We let pain poison us. Me too, held grudges.
Tentative truce. Coffee.
Stories. Lesson. Empathy turns enemies to echoes. As stars wheeled, I drove home lighter. Crash revealed, but compassion redeemed. Ben's gift, not fortune, but forgiveness's path. With the Geneva revelations settling like fresh snow on the peaks, I returned to the ranch, the vast Montana landscape feeling both familiar and renewed. The air carried the scent of pine and earth, a reminder that roots go deep even when storms uproot. I didn't rush to confront Mom and Dad. Their greed had scarred. But Grandpa's words urged perspective. Life's too short for eternal feuds, he'd say over campfires. Still, drama simmered. Family ties don't snap clean. Days blended into ranch work, mending fences, checking cattle, funding Ben's legacy projects. A community center in Billings, scholarships for local kids, his spirit lived on. Jamie helped. Our bond strengthened by the ordeal. You could have walked, she said one evening. Fire crackling. But you're building bridges. Selective ones, I replied. The note's weight lifted. But curiosity about their side gnawed. Lena called. Estates fully transferred, no loose ends. Legal clarity brought peace. But human mess lingered. I drove to their new place unannounced. Sunset painting the sky orange. Small house. Truck parked, humble compared to the old spread.
Knocked.
Mom opened, eyes widening. Alex. Dad appeared behind. guarded. Come in, he said gruff. Kitchen table.
Coffee poured.
Found more from Grandpa in Geneva. Laid out letters. Photos. Mom's hand trembled on a yellowed page, her young pleas for freedom from ranch drudgery. He kept these.
Tears fell.
Dad stared at a photo, us all laughing by the river. We pushed you away with our mistakes. Stories poured, Mom's dreams of college dashed by family duty, Dad's failed ventures breeding desperation. Greed was our armor, Mom admitted. Hurt turned us hard. I listened, anger softening to understanding. Doesn't erase the hospital words. The grabs. No, Dad agreed. We're sorry truly. Silence held. Then I nodded. Start fresh? Dinners. Talks, no money talk.
Tentative smiles.
Not full redemption, but a step. Driving home. Stars blanketed the sky. Lesson light. Pain explains. Doesn't excuse. But empathy heals. Weeks later. A family gathering, neutral park. Picnic style. Riley there. Awkward apologies.
L'auteur tentative.
But real. The crash's echo faded. Replaced by cautious bonds. Grandpa's will wasn't just assets, it was wisdom. See the human. Mend the fence. But drama wasn't done. A letter arrived, anonymous tip about hidden debts Dad had buried. Investigated with Lena, old loans. Risky investments threatening their place. Confronted. Why hide? Dad sighed.
Bride. Didn't want to beg.
Offered help, not handout, but guidance to restructure. Family means lifting, not leveraging. They accepted. Gratitude in eyes. As snow dusted the ranch. Peace rooted. The Western spirit, resilient, forgiving prevailed. Ben's legacy. Fortune funds dreams. But heart mends families. The revelations from Geneva lingered like the echo of a distant thunderstorm. The kind that rolls over the Montana plains and leaves the air cleaner. I spent days on the ranch. Hands in the dirt. Mind processing. Grandpa's letters painted Mom as a young woman trapped by expectations. Dad as a man broken by failures. It humanized their greed, not justified it, but explained the rot. Every villain's the hero in their own tale, Ben once quipped. I decided to test if redemption was possible. Drove over at dusk. The horizon ablaze. Their house modest. Lights warm.
Knocked.
Heart pounding like hooves on hard ground. Mom answered. Surprise softening to caution. Alex, everything okay?
Talk time, I said.
Inside.
Coffee steamed.
Spread the docs. Mom read her old words. Tears tracking cheeks. He understood. I never knew. Dad gripped a photo. Voice rough. We let resentment poison us. The grabs. The words. Unforgivable. Explain, I pressed. Floodgates opened. Mom's stifled ambitions. Dad's lost ranch deals fueling desperation. We saw your inheritance as our fix. Honesty raw. Hurts linger, I admitted. But Grandpa wanted understanding. We talked hours. Pains aired. Apologies given. Try again? No expectations.
Nods.
Hug awkward. But real. Next week's tentative steps, shared meals, ranch visits. Riley joined. Remorseful. I followed blind. Laughter returned. Guarded but growing. Then the twist. Envelope arrived. Tip on Dad's hidden debts, loans from shady lenders. Risking foreclosure. Truth. I asked Lena. Verified. Confronted them. Hiding again? Dad confessed. Shame. Offered partnership. Refinance through my trusts. But with counseling. Learn together. They agreed, humility shining. Winter came, snow blanketing fields. Family bonds mended, not perfect, but stronger. Lesson: revenge satisfies momentary, but compassion endures. Ben's gift: not just wealth, but wisdom to rebuild. As winter thawed into spring, the ranch bloomed with wildflowers dotting the pastures, a visual echo of the renewal in my life. The crash felt distant, a pivot point from betrayal to tentative trust. Mom and Dad's debts cleared with structured help, no free rides, but guided paths. Dinners became regular, conversations deeper, laced with regret and resolve. "We're proud," Mom said one night. "Eyes sincere. Of who you've become." Riley stepped up, volunteering at the community center, making amends. Jamie remained my rock, reminding, boundaries stay. The Western ethos, forgive but remember, guided us. Grandpa's lesson light: greed stems from wounds, heal them, and families thrive. One last mystery: a final envelope from Ben's vault, revealed in time. Inside, deeds to hidden land, instructions to share if hearts mended. We did a family trust equals stewardship. See, I said at the signing. He believed in second chances.
Laukaterang.
Drama resolved in humanity. Under the vast sky, I walked the fields. Peace profound. The crash exposed darkness, but light won. Legacy: love over loss. Spring rains nourish the land, turning the Montana valleys lush and green, mirroring the growth in our fractured family. With debts managed, Mom and Dad rebuilt their lives, counseling sessions, honest work. "Thanks for the rope," Dad joked, meaning lifeline. Meals evolved from tense to joyful, stories shared without barbs. Riley redeemed, helping with scholarships. My way back. Jamie watchful, progress, not perfection. A final Geneva surprise, Ben's last letter. Timed release. If you've bridged the gap, this land's for all, steward together. Deeds to pristine acreage. We gathered at Lena's, signed a fair trust. He knew hearts could change, Mom whispered. Picnic on the new land, laughter.
Toasts.
Drama storm past, leaving clarity. Ben's wisdom, empathy turns tides. As sun set, I felt whole. Betrayal birthed growth, redemption sealed it. The West spirit: endure, evolve,
Embrace.